the button. There's the transition button. You know, you think I'd be better. You think I'd be better at doing transitions considering I'm trans, but what are you gonna do, alright? No transition is ever smooth. Hello everyone, how's everyone doing today? How is the evening, if I can get my words out tonight? Hello Lewis, hello Jay, hello Carrie, hello Michael, hello Skylar, Cat Ashworth, excuse me, Miss Wicked Wolf, Fox Elliott, Sunflower Spirited, B Parker, Adrian, CJ, Miranda, Lewis, also Sam JB, Heart to you, thank you so much for Super Chat. I'll get to it in just a second after I say everything. But I hope everyone's doing really good today. I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. Oh, someone awesome. Can everyone send some love to someone awesome? I'm sorry you're very sad. Sending you love, my friend. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on, but sending you love, my friend. I'm doing really well, and I hope to send you some of that energy, someone awesome, because you are awesome. So, sending you some love. Oh! Congratulations, Fox Elliott. How did the surgery go? Congratulations on 1 week post-op surgery. That's wonderful. That's so nice. Absolutely congratulations, my friend. Oh, that's gotta feel wonderful. Well, I'm sure it sucks right now. If you're anything like me, I'm still healing from my facial harmonization surgery. So if you're anything like me, it's gotta suck. But I'm sure it feels emotionally glad. It's gonna get physically better over the next few weeks. So. Oh, Robbie, welcome to the live chat. Mwah, hello, my friend. Welcome this evening. But yes, before we get too much further, because I don't want to lose that super chat from earlier, so it doesn't get too far away from me. But I'll just say, welcome everybody. Well, Cat Ashworth, welcome to your first live stream. Mwah, hello. I'm so glad you're in. Congratulations on your year coming out anniversary. That's amazing. Congratulations. But yes, this is my weekly live stream where every week for about an hour, I'll just say, for about an hour, I talk about everything that all of you want to talk about. We just chill, we just hang. There's no agenda, besides the trans agenda, but no, agenda on things to discuss. I just talk about whatever you want to talk about. So I just follow the chat and we discuss whatever you want to discuss. Super chats generally get priority just because they do help pay the bills, and this is my full-time job. I give hearts to those give super chats, but I try to keep engaged with the chat as well, so I don't just focus on the super chats. I will just let everyone know, I will probably not go the full hour today, just for two reasons. Sorry, I'm also making sure I have the chat so I don't lose that super chat really quickly. Let me just pull that up. The reason I am probably not going to go the full hour today is, let me pop that out. Okay, cool. So I don't lose the super chat there. The reason that I'm probably going to be a little bit short today is because I was actually on the Transatlantic Call-In show. If any of you have listened to that over on the line, I shared it in my community tab, and I was on it for 2.5 hours today. So I've already been live for 2.5 hours already today. So go check out more of that if you want some stuff. We got some interesting conversations over there with the wonderful Katie. But because I've been on for that long, I got behind on some work. So I actually am writing some scripts for some GameSpot stuff that I'm doing. So I actually need to get those finished up today. So I'm going to probably go closer to like 30 to 45 minutes for this stream. A little shorter than normal, just so I can get back on those scripts before I do dinner tonight, because I want to kind of finish this up. Because usually this is the last thing I do in a day. But because I have those scripts, I kind of want to wrap those up before I go off to dinner. But anyways... Oh, Hollow Knight music is wonderful. I need to play Hollow Knight. I love the music, but I've never actually played it, especially since I've been getting into Dark Souls stuff. But let me quick say, Sam JB, Heart to you, thank you so much for your super chat. Is it, hey Jessie, how are you today? As a Deep Space Nine gal, I just watched a perfect episode of of LS. I'm assuming you mean Lower Decks? Not LS, but the latest episode, Lower Decks, went to Deep Space Nine. I sat there with a goofy smile the whole time. I'm so happy. So, no spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody who has not seen the Lower Decks episode yet, because I know some people in the UK have not seen it yet. But what I will say is I am so glad to finally be able to talk about that episode more next week and more on Saturday, because I got to see that episode over a month ago, about 2 months ago, actually. So I got to see that episode of Lower Decks 2 months ago, and I knew that one person that was going to be in it was in it, like, even months before then, because someone at Star Trek Chicago accidentally slipped to me that the character is going to be in the show. So I've been sitting on this episode for so long. And I just wanted to talk about it for so long, because they sent me screeners. They sent me like the first 8 episodes of season 3 of Lower Decks. at the same time. So I got to binge it all, and then I just had to sit there and wait. So yeah, it was such a great episode. I loved it. I adored it. If you have not seen it yet, go watch the latest Lower Decks episode as soon as you can, because it is fantastic. If you are a Deep Space Nine fan, as my queer little heart is, my queer little Star Trek fan heart loves Deep Space Nine, and because of that, I was so glad to return. And I'll just leave it there, and we have more things. Vale! Oh my gosh, Vale! It's been so long since I've seen you. Heart to you, my friend. Heart to you. Vale. Mwah, 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 mwah. Sending love to you and Corey. It's been a hot minute since I've seen you. I think I've seen both of you in the stream here and there, but it's so nice to see you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. All the love for you. It's so nice. Oh, Miranda says I watched your Dark Souls video. It was so good. I loved it. Missed you as much. Missed you too, Vale. I hope everything's going well with you too. Mwah. Sending you love. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And thank you for sending, like, I love that Dark Souls video. It's my favorite one, Miranda. One of my favorite things I've done for GameSpot. I have a couple other videos coming for GameSpot that I'm more proud of than that one, but the ones that are publicly out, what I love about that Dark Souls video sorry, I won't talk about myself. I'll answer some more questions, but I just want to talk about it because I so rarely get to talk about that video, and I love it so much. It's a video I made for GameSpot that, like, I think captures everything that I want to do. It's, like, funny, it's weird, it's strange, it's got emotions, got emotional arc to it. It's about a game that I really care about. Like, I love Dark Souls. Like, I'm currently playing Bloodborne right now. Like, I had never played Dark Souls before that video, and this year alone, since making that video, I played Dark Souls 2, 3, the original Bloodborne. I'm hoping to get to Elden Ring. I'm hoping to play Sekiro and Dark Demon's Souls. So I'm just very excited about all of that. So hell yes. So thank you so much for watching it. I was so I love that game so much, and I love that video. So don't NCC 1701, Chris. You don't worry about being late. It's nice to have you here, my friend. All right, but thank you for watching that. And Vale, I'm just sending you even more love just because I've missed you. Let's see. I saw something that someone wrote that I wanted to. I did do another live today. Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna be out here for as long. Someone just asked, did you like the DC Comics? Do you like DC Comics? Kryptonian Kaiju says yes. I love DC Comics. Like, don't get me wrong. As I've gotten older, I have gotten less in love with the superhero, like Marvel's DC stuff. I've actually been loving more indie comics as of late. Like, I've been reading a shit ton, excuse my language, a shit ton of indie comics, especially horror comics. Abby Howard. If anyone's looking for excellent horror comics that are, like, queer-friendly, but terrifying and really, really good, I think most of the characters in the story, like, the first one in the story is, like, a trans character. Go look up Abby Howard, and the one I would recommend to everybody... Sorry, I'm just using this as a time to talk about comics. Abby Howard comic book. The Crossroads at Midnight. It will terrify you, and yet it's also, like, really queer inclusive. We all get to suffer together in a queer way. It's wonderful. Like, legitimately go listen to Abby. Corey, good to see you. Don't tell me language. But yeah, go read Abby Howard because she's so good. Or they. Apologies, I actually don't know Abby Howard's pronoun, so apologies to them if I got it wrong. But that being said, getting back to the question, DC Comics, I do like DC Comics more than Marvel. Even now, even like their projects, I used to argue that like Marvel made the better movies and DC like had the better animated stuff, and the comics that I like more, like I like DC Comics more. I still agree on I think DC Comics are better. I still generally agree that DC animated stuff is better. Some of their movies lately, actually some of their movies have been pretty good lately, their animated movies. You know, I'm just going to generally say DC animated movies are better too. And animated TV shows are better too, like Harley Quinn, the animated series, fantastic. Things like Doom Patrol, fantastic. I would even argue, here's my hot take. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. Here's my hot take. I actually like all of the DC movies, but generally better than the MCU. Don't get me wrong. Generally, MCU, much stronger films. But they are a little bit formulaic, especially now getting into Phase 4. And I will totally agree. Marvel movies much better generally. Like, they are consistently better. But I kind of like DC movies, the Zack Snyder aside. But even Zack Snyder I kind of find fascinating in a kind of morbid curiosity kind of way. They're more interesting films. Even the ones that suck. Like, even Suicide Squad, the original one, not James Gunn's one, which I think is a legitimately great movie. I am fascinated by it as, like, a piece of terrible media. I just find it way more interesting. Like, weird hot take there. That all being said, David Zaslav, who currently runs Warner Discovery, can F off. I hate him. He's absolutely terrible. His politics are horrible. What he's doing to that company is horrible. What he's done to many movies like Batwoman is horrible. Like, David Zaslav, screw him. The creatives behind the DC Comics stuff, I generally like better. That's not saying I don't love Marvel, but I do love DC Comics a little bit more. Plus, my two favorite characters in superherodom, Superman and Harley Quinn. I love them to death, both of them. So there you go. Love Superman, love Harley Quinn. I would hug them both. So Harley Quinn would probably beat me with a hammer for that, but yeah. So, but yeah, Batgirl, the Batgirl stuff. Sorry, I said Batwoman. I meant Batgirl. But still, blah. Okay. Catching up on some questions. DC Legends, yeah, DC Legends tomorrow was like trashy fun. Wonder Woman 1984 again is a movie. Like, here, let me read M10. Let me put it this way. Wonder Woman 1984, I think, is a bad movie, but it is bad in ways I find more interesting to talk about than, say, like, trying to think of, like, a bad superhero movie than, like, Thor Ragnarok, right? Like, I would say Thor Ragnarok, not Thor Ragnarok, sorry, Thor the Dark World. Apologies, Thor Ragnarok is good. I meant, Thor the Dark World. Do not get angry at me, please, internet. Like, I think Thor the Dark World and Wonder Woman 1984 are a close in equivalency in terms of their quality, generally. Like, not trash, but not really great either. But I find Wonder Woman 1984 to be probably more offensive, but more interesting to talk about as a movie than Thor the Dark World. So yeah, no. Thor Ragnarok is great. Well, I have issues structurally with Thor Ragnarok, but generally I like Thor Ragnarok a lot. Structurally, I have some issues with it, like Hela and Thor kind of being in two completely different movies. But beyond those two being like essentially two completely different movies, and somewhat wasting Karl Urban, which is sad because I love Karl Urban. I do really love Thor Ragnarok overall. Someone really wants to know, Satoshi Kon, please don't spam the chat, just so you know. We don't like that here. Do you like Grant Morrison? Yeah, to be fair, I haven't read a ton of Grant Morrison, but I do like Grant Morrison from what I've seen. We got a spam bot. I'm gonna quick hide that. Yeah, I haven't read a bunch of his stuff. I remember there was like the one of like the Batman of El Zara or wherever, where it was like Bruce Wayne like kind of went crazy and started seeing like a Batmite version in his head, and he like had the red bat suit and stuff. Like Grant Morrison always seems like I'm saying he. Apologies, I know Grant Morrison is they them pronouns, I believe. So apologies to Grant Morrison. I believe Grant Morrison said they're non-binary. Am I incorrect about that? Did I make that up? I feel like I made... No, I'm not so sure. I feel like I heard that somewhere and I don't remember. Anyways, I do like Grant Morrison. I just have not read a bunch of their stuff. So, Grant Morrison is Grant Morrison, said Redem 10. Yeah. Is Grant Morrison? Okay, I was right. Thank you, Corey. Non-binary. Just double checking it. Comes out as non-binary. Yeah, hell yeah. I love this. I look up Grant Morrison non-binary. Quite literally, the first article that says Grant Morrison comes out as non-binary. No one is surprised. Which fair. That's literally a great headline. I love that. Oh, I adore the hell out of that. Pronouns Grant and Morrison. Yes, I love it. Lily Hazel's Eyes, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. You said, hey Jessie, glad to be here. I've been very busy with uni, feeling a bit burnt out, and it's not even October. My art history teacher is really encouraging, so yay for good teachers. Hell yeah. Good teachers are amazing, especially since they are so undervalued, both in terms of what we pay them and just in our society. Good teachers can change your entire life. It did for, like, my English teacher in high school, like, legitimately changed my relationship with literature and got me to love writing and reading. I loved him to death. In college, one of my favorite professors like got me to understand that it wasn't always about, like, she didn't even grade stuff. She's like, you'll all get A's as long as you try. It's not about making grades. We're here to like talk about art and like film school stuff. And she was fantastic. She let us stay at her house. Like when we were like doing editing in New York, we got professional editing done in New York. Like she was so wonderful. I love her. Her name is Marlena, and she was like works professionally as a sound editor. She actually won an Emmy for sound editing. She's a fantastic teacher, one of the best teachers I ever had. But I'm sorry you're feeling burnt out. Please take care of yourself. Burnout can be a really shitty thing. I know from experience. Like, burnout can, like, the thing that people don't really realize about burnout, as important to remember, that we don't really talk about enough with burnout, is burnout is not just like, oh, I'm feeling overworked, so I need to take a few days off, sort of thing. Burnout is a feeling of like your entire creative energy is just drained, in creative or physical energy. But it's for me, talking as a creative, I'll speak from my experience. Like, as a creative person, it's like your creative energy is drained, and you just don't want to like do the emotional energy of like doing work. You know, it's just that's what burnout is, and it takes much more than just like resting for a few days. It is like, it can, if you get into serious burnout, it can knock you out for months because you just don't have that creative fire, or like emotional fire to keep going on stuff. So yeah, no, it's a dangerous thing. So please take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself. Oh, Boston Celtics 1369. I'm glad you saw me on the Transatlantic call-in. Yeah, that was a great, that was a really great show. I was really pleased with the discussions we had on there. Like, Katie is always great. Arden's always great when I'm on with Arden. Like, I really enjoyed being on the Transatlantic call-in show. The one thing may I indulge in an answer that I didn't get to deliver on the Transatlantic call-in show, because when I was on Transatlantic, one of the callers, for those of you who don't know, the Transatlantic call-in show, great show. It's where two trans people, usually Katie and Arden, but sometimes they have guest hosts like myself, just have people call into the stream. And it was a really good conversation, but one person right at the end that we had to like cut off because we kind of didn't have time to answer was like, oh, well, I'm not, like, you're overusing the term transphobic. And it was just something that like got in my head. I was like, oh, I should do a video on it, because I just think about it. It's like, they said like, oh, you, because this is the thing I see a lot of conservatives say, like Matt Walsh has said it quite a bit. It's like, people overuse the term transphobic. Transphobia is an irrational fear, and no one's irrationally afraid of you. No one's irrationally afraid of trans people. No one's like running scared from a trans person. And I was like, ooh, so many thoughts that I just wanted to say about that, because it just got me thinking. So with that argument of like, no one's actually afraid of you, like, number one, there are people who are. Like, listen to any TERF rhetoric, and they'll be like, the trans people are going to come into the bathrooms and assault you. And they like tell horror stories of like, I was in a bathroom once and a trans person, and they'll use much more dehumanizing, like, this man or whatever phrase they want to say. And I was so scared. I was in the stall, and they used the stall next to me. It's like, so you're telling me you were in a stall and a trans person went in the bathroom and also used the stall and everyone was fine. That's the story. But they like make it like this horror movie, like a monster was stalking outside of their stall, scratching at the walls or whatever. So there is like a very clear irrational fear being shown. But when people say that, they tend to like think like, oh, when they think of fear, irrational fear, they tend to think of it just being like, oh, a monster in the bed that's gonna scare you. Like, we're not afraid of trans people in that way. But what they don't realize is like a lot of the stuff being built up against trans people is transphobia, because it displays an irrational fear of something. Like, for example, the fear of like people are transing the children, or that trans kids are getting irreversible surgeries at a young age, or that like puberty blockers is going to chemically castrate kids. Like, all these transphobic narratives, they're not actually based in anything real. They're based in like lies and misinformation around trans people that have been spread by right-wing places, and lack of education around trans people, lack of understanding trans people. And so it's the fear of like trans people like transing your kids or whatever. That is a fear that is not rational. It is not based on any sort of rational line of thought. Therefore, it is an irrational concern or worry or fear, and that is transphobia. If you're trying to like push down other people or say to do things based on a fear that is not rational. And so it's not like a horror movie monster coming to get you fear that we're always talking about, but like basing your information on something that is not a rational line of thought, based on actual rational reasoning and understanding about the trans community and trans people and trans healthcare. On top of that too, one thing I will agree with is when we think about transphobia as like a transphobe, someone is a transphobe. where we essentialize transphobia and hatred of trans people as like a thing a person is, rather than it is an action that a trans person takes. And thank you, Redak. I'll read your super chat in a second. And thank you, Verilyn, in just a second. I'll read that too. Like, we tend to think of transphobia as like an like, you're a racist, you're a transphobe. And certainly people like Matt Walsh or whatever, we can like basically describe as a transphobe because that's what he does. It's like his whole brand at this point. He literally made one of the most transphobic films that's ever been made. But for most people beyond those horrible figures, it's often more helpful to think of transphobia or racism even, or something like that, misogyny, as an action that someone does rather than as something that someone is. Because actions can be, because when you say someone's a transphobe, they get very defensive. And not that we should be thinking about their feelings when they're attacking marginalized groups, but I think it allows the conversation to get to a more nuanced place to be say, like, this is what's wrong. This is what's causing harm. Not you as a whole person, but this action is causing harm. So it's not necessarily worrying about their feelings, but it's a better way to articulate and think about it. And also just does tend to stop this culture of like denying accountability, cancel culture rhetoric, saying they're coming to cancel me. Because people say like they're trying to destroy me as a whole person. It's like, no, we're saying the things you are doing are transphobic. But they wanted to just be like, they're trying to cancel me as a person. I'm like, no. I mean, I want you to not have a platform if you're going to use your platform to be like, say, transphobic stuff. But we're not saying you as a person need to like die or disappear or whatever. It's more just like this action is transphobic. So yeah, that was just the conversation that's been kicking around in my brain, and probably worth like writing out as a video, but just something I was just thinking about after that just wanted to articulate. But I saw some super chats, everybody. Apologies if I'm saying this wrong. Rediac12, heart to you, my friend. Said, any advice for preparing mentally for November? I'm starting to panic. What's happening in November? Just like as a month? I mean, I hate November too. October is my, I got you, for voting. I think you just got to keep moving forward. Elections. Yeah, I was saying the elections and midterms. I mean, there is reason to be hopeful in the sense that like the tides have seemed to turn a lot against Republicans in the United States, in the sense that like, they've done so much stupid stuff like pulling back Roe v. Wade, what's his face, DeSantis's Mar-a-Lago stunt, which was ridiculous and blatantly stupid on its face. Like, they've just gotten more and more bolder and wielding to a further right and right base that has made rhetoric much more escalated and harmful, but also exposed some of the nonsense that they do. So there has been some shift in that direction. That being said, though, I always like tell people, especially in the United States, think of voting as a form of harm reduction. Now, there are certainly politicians that I get excited about, less so in the United States, but maybe in other areas. But for me, it's important to vote. You always should vote. But I look at the Democrats nowadays, and they are definitely not a party that really represents me. Maybe some figures in the party represent me a bit better than others, but they are generally not a party that ever represents me or the policies that I want to fight for, or actually fighting for people's real rights. They tend to uphold the system as it is, which the system as it is harms a lot of people. So I always tend to think of when we vote, it's a form of harm reduction, not necessarily the end-all be-all of our political engagement, our engagement for helping others. So the reason I say that in terms of like alleviating worries with people is that things might be scary. And certainly if someone like Trump or whatever gets back in power again, Ron DeSantis, whatever, gets into power, things will be hard and scary and awful, and horrible things will happen if those people do get elected, for sure. But I say to you also too, what will also not go away is people fighting and caring for each other in the communities that we form, and the bonds that we form, and the ability to fight back, and the willingness to fight back. That doesn't go away, even if terrible people, even if every terrible person won the election in their elections in November. The willingness to fight back does not go away. And that's the spirit that we always have to hold on to. that willingness to push back, care for each other, fight back, no matter how terrible it gets. And certainly there's worry about violence and things like that, and I understand that too. It's not something that I'm not scared about. I certainly am a lot, especially as a trans person, and seeing the way that trans rhetoric has been becoming increasingly more and more heightened over the past few months and years. It's certainly not something I'm not scared about. But you always have to remind yourself that who you're fighting for, what you're fighting for, and who you're fighting with. So I'm not saying don't be scared. It's a completely understandable thing to be scared, but don't think that even if you lose the elections, even if the worst comes to pass on that it's over. You always keep fighting, and you always have people with you who are fighting. So yeah, I think that's the best way to think about it. And yeah, I do worry too about that cappuccino crafts. I do worry about that too. I mean, the thing that really scares me is Putin nuclear war stuff. That's the really terrifying thing. But you know, we do what we can. You know, there's some things you really can't control. So you just gotta do what you can. All right, I talked a lot about that, so let me quick get to more super chats here. Valerie Lynn, excuse me. Thank you, Jessie, for always being a safe place for me. My whole family's pretty homophobic. You always make me feel loved and worthy. Well, Lynn, I'm just sending you love. I'm so sorry that your family is awful, and I send you some love, and know that you always have a safe space in the community here, and there are people who love you and value you. And I'm sorry that your family does not value you the way that you should be valued, because you are amazing and wonderful and fantastic. And I'm so glad to have you here, and I'm so glad to have you in this community. And just always know, no matter what happens, you are valued and you are amazing, and people care about you. So sending you some love, my friend. Heart to you, Hontus Farmer. You said, like real racism, true transphobia is a system. Exactly. It's not to say that people can't be transphobic or people can't be racist, but it's more the system that is the problem, that enables these viewpoints, that not only enables them but encourages them, because the system has been built up upon using these systems of misogyny, racism, and to a degree know, though in a way transphobia is much more of an outgrowth of both racism and misogyny, and so it's a system that uphold those things. So Sean Piper, heart to you. You said Lower Decks was so good this week, but by the way, please use the super chat to spoil. I will. I'll buy him some nice. I need to actually go out and buy him some more cat food tonight, so I'll buy him some good, like the wet food that he really loves, like the fancy stuff. So thank you very much, Sean. Signing you love. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Let's see. Bookworms of the fandom, heart to you. You said, forgot if you said, but have you watched the Old Guard comics or even seen the movie? First thing I thought of when you started talking about comics today. I have not read the Old Guard comics, but I have seen the movie. I actually did a review and discussion of the movie on this channel back around when it came out, so you can check out that video. If it should be up somewhere, where I talked about the scene in that. Love that movie. It's great. It's a nice movie. You know what I love about the Old Guard is it's not a movie that like knocked my socks off. You know, it's not like the best movie of all time. It's a good superhero movie, but it's a good superhero movie that feels inclusive of so many people. And it's nice to have a superhero movie that just allows people to be inclusive. And then I always just have a soft spot for movies that feature a diverse group of people coming together to fight others. That's why I also love the Eternals. Like, I have issues with the MCU and Phase 4 and whatever, and I know it's not a perfect movie, but I actually like the Eternals for exactly that same reason. That it's a bunch of diverse people coming together to, like, take on fascism, essentially. So I do really like those types of films. Sense8 is probably the epitome of that for me, and even the Matrix movies have that to a degree. So yeah, that 100%. I loved the Old Guard movie. Sam JB, heart to you, said, have you watched Apple TV's See It All? The world building story have been stunning. No, but I want to, because I know Jason Momoa is in it. And I'm always here for my man. My man. But yeah, no, Jason Momoa is great. I love him in pretty much every, like, even if a movie is terrible, I always enjoy Jason Momoa. So yeah, I'm very much, he seems like just a good, positive dude. So yeah, I am definitely here for that show. I have not seen it though, no pun intended. But But yeah, what I have heard about it is that outside of Jason Momoa, they have hired a lot of actually blind actors, which is amazing. Like I think that's pretty awesome to do that. I would have liked them, as much as I love Jason Momoa, it would have been awesome to actually have them hire a blind actor for the lead. But that being put aside, I think that is really, really cool. Let's see. John Vinnell's heart to you. You said it's much better for platforms on the internet to be earned through intellect and I can't say the word intellect. What does that tell you? And good speaking rather than just being given to any loud person. For sure. Sadly, not always the case and not always how that works. Tends to be. It's not even like the loudest person always. It's usually the richest person. That's the problem with that marketplace of ideas, right? The problem with an idea with something like the marketplace of ideas is that it's a marketplace, and the people with money are generally the ones that get to buy the biggest megaphone and shout. That's why you get to see something like PragerU, for example. Like PragerU is a big YouTube platform because they have money to put behind it. The dude is literally a billionaire or something like that. And Dennis Prager's, I think he's a millionaire. He's at least a millionaire. I think he's a billionaire. And so he has a lot of money to sink into that thing. And that's why they're able to do it. So yeah, it's you would, in an ideal world, I guess the marketplace of ideas would be a good concept, though I think even that I would have issues with it. But as it stands now, it's definitely just whoever's loudest / who's ever more sensational / whoever has the most money to buy as much of a platform. So. Bumblebee790, hard to you, said, "Hi Jesse, I love your content and thank you so much. And I wanted to say I'm moving forward with Trans Dirty, and you have helped me steal my courage. I have an HRT appointment next week and coming out at work. Congratulations, Bumblebee790. That's amazing. Absolutely, congratulations. I hope everything goes well and wonderful, and I just wish you all the best. Mwah. I'm glad to have been a part of that journey for you, and I'm so proud of you, and that is absolutely amazing, and congratulations, my friend. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You say... Dysgraphic programmer, hard to you, said, I used to like Dr. Franklin on Babylon 5, but you and Vera might have changed my mind. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I do a podcast called the Jumpgate Podcast with my friend Vera, where we rewatch Babylon 5 episodes. And unfortunately, we've been watching it, and we have been very critical of the character, especially Vera, of Franklin, the doctor on the show, because because he is definitely a very problematic character, and I'll put it at that. Like, dating his patients in one episode is a little like, woof. Oh boy. It's a little, some stuff that probably would not fly today as uncritically as it showed in Babylon 5. So yeah, Franklin kind of a jerk, unfortunately. But I'm hoping, I keep watching it, I was like, I hope it gets better. Please. I was just like, we just had one problematic episode. It was the 90s, it was the thing. And then hopefully it gets better. I keep trying my best to defend him, but yeah, he's definitely a problem. Definitely a problem. Darth Malgus, hard to you. You said thoughts on Deadpool 3 announcement. Yes! Excited. For those of you who didn't know, Hugh Jackman is coming to Deadpool 3 as playing Wolverine again, which initially my thought would be more mixed, because I really do think that Logan might be one of my favorite superhero movies of all time, like top 5, definitely top 5, like in the Marvel DC dichotomy. There's probably more superhero movies beyond like Marvel and DC that I like more. But certainly within Marvel and DC, I think Logan is one of my favorite movies of all time in the superhero genre, and I kind of like that being his capstone. Like, I don't want to see more Hugh Jackman after that as Wolverine. I like that being his endpoint. But if you were going to bring him back, Deadpool 3 is the place to do it, because it's a little bit fun, it's irreverent, they get to hopefully have like a multiverse journey as the Fox X-Men universe degrades into the MCU, and they can kind of make fun of that. That'd be kind of really fun, and sort of as like a last hurrah, as like a irreverent kind of having fun sort of thing. I am very much here for it. If they announced that, like, in the X-Men movie, like the upcoming X-Men movie, they were going to bring Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine in like whatever next X-Men, like official X-Men movie they were going to do. Oh God, spam bot. Thank you, Corey, for grabbing that. Then I would have been more upset. Because I would like to see a new actor get to play Wolverine, Like, let's see what a new actor can bring to the character. rather than just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again in this nostalgia stuff. It's kind of the issue that I had with like Patrick Stewart as Professor X, because I also had that same feeling. It was like I liked him best in ending in Logan, and so bringing him back in like and Doctor Strange was a bit like, do we really need to bring him back? Like, don't get me wrong, I love my Patrick Stewart, but it felt a little bit like redundant. And thankfully that it was just as like cameo, so I wasn't the most egregious thing in the world, but it felt a little bit like that. Whereas like Wolverine coming back and it not just being a cameo, like him being part of the story and it's just irreverent and fun, hell yeah, I'm here for it. Just don't bring him back as like a main character. So I also too, I did like how casually they announced it. It was just like, hey, do you want to be back in the MCU? And he's like, yeah, sure. I love that. It was great. Heart to you, Chloe. You said, good news. Goddess Electrolysis. Goddess Electrolysis, the only trans-owned hair removal service in Minnesota, is accepting new clients again. Bad news, no works insurance doesn't cover it. Yay. Well, I'm sorry it doesn't cover it, but I'm glad they're accepting new clients. And yeah, most insurances unfortunately don't cover it. My insurance didn't. I didn't get full. I still have like hair stuff, but I had to get down there for my surgery. And weirdly, they didn't cover it. So that's a lie. They covered a little bit of it. They covered like $100 of it, and I mean $100 total per year. So like they covered like the first like appointment, and you have to do many appointments with that thing. Like you have to do it weekly. So yeah, it didn't really work out well. So yeah, it sucks, but I'm glad that it's at least 70 new clients. Hopefully you can get in. I'm sorry you have to pay money for it because that's some BS, but I'm glad that you're able to get in. Hopefully. Catch up on some super chats here. John Vinus said, more specifically, the Eternals is a vicious smackdown of the pro-life mindset. Yeah, no, I was going to mention that earlier. The Eternals is they do a giant space abortion at the end of that movie. I mean, hell yeah. It's also about fascism, too. I mean, what's-his-face is like basically a Superman fascist at the end there. So, yeah, no, I really liked that movie quite a bit. Like, it's an imperfect movie by far, but honestly, probably one of my favorite Phase 4 Marvel movies so far. I love the Eternals. Like, legitimately, I love it. It also felt different, too. Like, the Marvel movies have started to become very samey to me, and the Eternals was one that actually felt like it had its own personality, different from, like, the grander MCU feel. Like, it felt different. Also, it had Kit Harington and my boy Rob Stark. Like, you know, say what you will about Game of Thrones, but God, I love Kit Harington. The beautiful, wonderful, he seems like a nice man. I always like him in things, you know. I kind of want that Jon Snow Game of Thrones spinoff just for more Kit Harington. So yeah, you know, he's great. Yin said, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Hey, you, back to you. Mwah. Let's see. Oh, Sarah, sending you some positivity. Mwah, mwah. Sending you love, Sarah. Thank you for being here. Mwah. Also excited to see our Farscape episode with my mustache. For those of you who don't know, Sarah does a wonderful podcast about Farscape. If you're missing me and Vera talking about Farscape and need more Farscape talk, Sarah does a wonderful podcast called, what was it? Muppets, Sex, and Trauma? Am I right about that? Something along those lines. Sarah, put it in the chat. I'm sure you'll put it in the chat. But it's a really wonderful podcast that I guested on for a recent episode, and it comes out tomorrow. Sarah says, so excited to see it, and I'll share it out on my Twitter and such, Sarah, when it comes out. So hell yeah. But yeah, I was excited to be on it. It was a wonderful conversation. I had a great time, and I hope you'll have me back at some point. Mr. Funny Guy 015 says, heart to you. You said, I'm a cishet guy and just agreed to date with a trans woman. What are some tips and pointers you have? Just treat her like you would any other woman. You know, what I would say to you, Mr. Funny Guy, is just don't make a focus of her being trans. Just treat her like you would any woman. If she brings up that she's trans, just make her feel comfortable. Say, you know, I don't have an issue with it. You know, you can have, you know, and if she allows you to and wants to have conversations about being trans, sure. But otherwise, just don't focus on that. Just have a conversation between people, you know, make her feel comfortable. As I'm sure I mean, it's a first date. Everyone's uncomfortable. You'll probably be uncomfortable. She'll be uncomfortable. It's all how it goes. If my first dates are anything to go by. But yeah, I think just treat her like you would any other woman, and don't I know the tendency is, like, since you're asking the question, is like tendency like focus on trans. Just don't worry about it. Just treat her like a person. And I think you'll both hopefully have a fun time, and I hope it goes great. Let's see. Heart to you, Michael. Thank you so much for your super chat. You said, glad to see you after your well-earned break, all fresh, energetic, and good. Well, to be fair, I have not had my break yet. Long story. I'm hoping to take that break. The Matt Walsh video is not done yet, so I'm going to take a break after that. And then, to be fair, I'm also working on a bunch of stuff behind the scenes, so I'm trying not to burn out too hard. Probably going to be closer to, like, November when I take the break. But, Matt Walsh video is coming along, so I haven't taken the break yet, but I'm feeling energetic, which is good. So, yeah, haven't taken the break yet. I will soon, though. Catch it up. Is there any more super chats that I missed besides these two? Okay, cool. Here's 3 more. Chloe, you said, gotta love the language that it's not medically necessary, even though it is necessary for those who want sexual reassignment surgery. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing with electrolysis, that it is required for surgery, but it's not medically necessary. I also always hate that, like, not medically necessary. It's like, why are we even paying insurance if they're not gonna fucking pay for shit? You know? I don't know. People are just like, well, you know, people like to throw at me, for example, when I was did my face harmonization surgery, they're like, well, I don't want to pay for your breast augmentation. That's just a cosmetic thing. Your insured shouldn't pay for that. You know, you should have to pay that for yourself. And I'm sad that you had to. It's like, number one, I paid for my own breast augmentation. That was me. Paid for that myself. But also, like, why are people so willing to defend the insurance company? You know? I always find that weird. Like that's the thing with trans people. Like, I constantly get that argument. It's like, well, you shouldn't have to pay for your breast augmentation because that's not medically necessary. The insurance company shouldn't have to pay that out for you. It's like, why are you defending the insurance company? Like, if I had gotten it paid for by the insurance company, why would you say that was wrong? Screw the insurance company. You know, every single cent that the insurance company pays for my stuff is a victory earned, in my opinion. So I'm not here to defend the insurance company. Screw them. Pay for every cent. Try and get every single cent out of them as you possibly freaking can. Insurance is a giant scam, and they deny people native medical coverage. And because insurance also exists, it allows medical providers to also up the prices of their stuff because they know some insurances will cover that stuff, meaning that people who can't afford insurance or the insurance doesn't cover stuff have to pay an inordinate amount of money for just basic care. So yeah, no, screw them. Screw them. The whole idea of, like, things being not medically necessary so the insurance is going to cover it, like, screw that whole concept, you know? And people defending that, being like, well, it's not medically necessary. Like, why are you defending the insurance company? Why are you on their side? You know? So. Alright. Let's see. James Hodge, hard to you. Thank you so much. I missed a bunch of Lower Decks episodes. I hear they're really good. They are! Go watch these episodes. Also, the next two. Okay. The run of, I'm just going to say this about Lower Decks. We're on episode 6 now, which is the Deep Space Nine one that just came out. My 3 favorite episodes of this season, 6, 7, 8. 8 is the, well, they already announced this, so I'm not spoiling anything. 8 is the movie episode where they do another parody of movies, but it's Boimler writing it this time. They already announced that one, Crisis Point 2. So that's episode 8. Episode 7 is weird. They do something different for episode 7, and it is very weird and very wild, and you should be excited to see it. It's a lot of fun. So let's see. Chloe, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. You said between that and the filing fee for a legal name gender change, $297. Jesus, that's a lot. Mine was like $150 for my legal name gender change. I wonder if I should start a GoFundMe. Yes, please. And we can share. I'll share it out on my Twitter if you send it my way. But yes, GoFundMes are always. I mean, they're not always. I wish people didn't have to do that, but they're a decent way. Like, there's nothing wrong with starting GoFundMe to get surgery stuff. Not at all. Also, you might be able to reach out to. I know Jacob Geller. What was that? Actually, Chloe, what you could reach out to is. Let me get this for you. I'm gonna get this for you. There was Jacob Geller, who is a one of my favorite YouTube creators. I was on his stream last week for charity, and the charity that he was supporting was an amazing charity that you might be able to reach out to if you can't afford getting electrolysis yourself. Where is it? Here it is. Look up. It is called Point of Pride, and they help do funding of trans people's electrolysis, give people binders, surgeries and stuff. You could probably put in for I'm going to put it in here. To Point of Pride. I just put it in the chat. Maybe you can apply there to help them out. And please go donate to Point of Pride. They're a fantastic organization. I want to do a charity stream. I keep saying I want to do a charity stream. I've just been busy. So I'm going to hopefully do a charity stream in the future. And I'm probably going to promote them as well again. Just because I think they're doing really great stuff. So I Point of Pride. Please go to them. If in Chloe, they may be able to help you. I can't guarantee anything, obviously, that you have to apply or whatever, but might be able to. So just a thought. Mr. Krabs, hey Jessie, do you have any favorite tropes in media? Like for me, it has to pass the torch to the next generation. Oh, that's a fun little trope. I'm always bad at answering this one because I just like seeing different things that people use tropes for. I mean, the power. I mean, it's a very cliche one, but I really love the power of friendship. Like earnestly, the power of friendship stuff. I love that so much. Anytime that someone's like earnest, like really earnest, the power of friendship. Like even the Fast and Furious movies are so earnest about that. Star Trek Lower Decks is so earnest about the power of friendship. My favorite trope in media is doubles though. I love doubles. I love when you like see the same character, but they have to do like they experience different things. In any context, you get like copies of people or doubles of people or like alternate universe things of people. Love that. Love it so much. I think my favorite version of that is Farscape, actually, because we were talking about it earlier. There's a twinning storyline where John gets doubled in that show, and I love that storyline so much. Just because I love like seeing like how different experiences shape people and make people react differently, and I love that show did that with such interesting nuance. And the way that ends up, I think, is really beautiful. I loved it so much. So the doubles. If there's any trope in media that I love the most, it is probably doubling. I love doubling tropes, and I love the power of friendship. Like, just I know it's cliche. I know it's like the easiest marketable theme of anything ever. Which is why I don't always like it to be the main theme of stuff, because it's very easy to be like, it's a Disney movie about the power of friendship. But whenever it's very earnest and like just kind people being kind to each other, I do really like that as a trope. So, John Vinnels, heart to you. You said, I actually read a Twitter thread not too long ago about how the Owl House, sorry for talking about that show too much. No, don't apologize. It's great. It's a great show worth talking about. It's great in large part because of how proudly anti-theocratic it is. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why I love a lot of like animated shows, like kids animated shows today, because they're allowed to be more anti-establishment than most. Most, like, the older the TV shows you get, the more like pro-establishment shows become. Or like pro-status quo the shows become. But when you have little kids shows, they are usually very anti-theocratic, anti-authority, very anti-authoritarianism, anti-status quo stuff, and being very open and like having a lot of diverse people. Like every show, Star Trek Prodigy has that. She-Ra has that. Steven Universe has that. Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast has that. The Owl House has that. Pick your poison and you'll have like you'll find that in a lot of stuff. So I love that a lot. That's why I resonate a lot with kids media that is like very more mature is probably the wrong word, but you get what I'm trying to say. That's why I love that sort of stuff. So let's see. Hard to you, John. Make insurance companies pay a lot. Yes, hashtag yeah, I agree. Leah, hard to you. You said get yourself something fun. Our household adores. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I will. Sending you love, my friend. Sending love to you and your household. Sending love to everyone in your household. You are absolutely amazing and fantastic. Thank you so much. Abracadaverous, it's good to see you. Heart to you. You said happy to catch a live stream. It's been a while. Hope your healing continues to go well. It's delightful to see you flourishing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Yeah, healing's going well. Still a little bit. I'm starting to get all feeling back in my head, but yeah, it's still a little bit little bit likes healing here. Also, I just gotta look at myself. I haven't been watching myself in the video yet. I'm like, whoa, damn. I like this shit on me. I look pretty cool. I look pretty bomb. And I kind of was thinking about like going like all silver hair at one point. Cause like, I like that look of like all silver in your hair. Like it's just an all silver sleek hair look. I think that might be a cool look on me. We'll see. Actually, what would be cool if I went all silver and then like a streak of blue? Ooh. Ooh, that might be fun. Now I'm thinking about that. That might be fun. Trying to think what else. I might wrap out soon, but there was something I wanted to say. I forgot. Well, I'm going to wrap out because I actually did go longer because y'all are wonderful, but I need to finish up some script writing. So I'm going to finish out the stream, everybody. But announcements. Tomorrow. Well, either tomorrow or Saturday, because I have a video coming out about House of the Dragon and how women are... the nuances of how women, or the lack of nuance of how women are portrayed in that show. Don't get me wrong, I like the House of the Dragon a lot, but it has a lot of problems in terms of how it's, Tony Bass, thank you so much. It has a lot of issues, I think, or a lack of, some interesting things to discuss is probably the better way to put it. Because issues, I think it more putting as, like, interesting things to discuss about that show. So I did a video. It'll be coming out, hopefully, tomorrow. The issue is that it has been getting copyright claimed a few times. I've uploaded a couple times and it's gotten copyright claimed a few times. So it's up now for patrons. It'll be up on Nebula tomorrow for folks. Worst case scenario, it'll be up on Saturday for people because the way YouTube works, you have to wait 48 hours for copyright claims to go through. So if it's not going to be up tomorrow morning, it'll be up Saturday morning. So keep an eye out for that. Then, the Matt Walsh video that I've been promising for weeks now, it is almost done. It's over 3 hours long. It's currently sitting at about 3 hours and 15 minutes. You'll see why. So it is almost done, and that'll be up probably next week. It'll be up for patrons definitely next week, and then it'll be either up next week or the week after for patrons, for everyone else beyond that. So House of the Dragon this week, and then 100% the next video after that will be the Matt Walsh one. Just depends on when exactly it's going to be happening, but you will get it this month. October, I should say. So sorry that's taken so long. You will see why when it comes up, because they had to keep growing because of stuff Matt Walsh does. But it is almost finished. Anything else that I wish to say? Oh, I will try. I might be busy Saturday night. So I might not stream on Saturday, but I will let you all know. If I am going to stream Saturday night, I will be playing more Ocarina of Time. We'll get to the Adventures of Turfbane. But not 100% it might happen. But it might. So keep an eye out for Saturday. Probably, let's say 50-50 chance of me doing a game Saturday night. Otherwise, House of the Dragon tomorrow. More Matt Walsh stuff soon. I'll leave it there. I'm going to go work on some projects, then have dinner. Heart to you, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you all. You're all wonderful and beautiful and amazing. And thank you so much for all that you do for me and for being wonderful in this community, for taking care of yourselves, for always fighting for others, for fighting for yourself. And you're all beautiful, wonderful, and amazing. And I adore you all.